Man, I know it's been a minute since I've posted, and I've been wanting to be honest, I actually recorded this video about a month and a half, almost 2 months ago. But I wanted to re-record it because I wasn't 100% happy with the video. Now this video is a little bit different, a little bit special you could say. I know normally when we get stuff sent out to us, we do a review on like single product. Not only are we going to be looking at this here, the G309 mouse, which is new from Logitech, but they also sent us out the G515 keyboard. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be checking out both of these in this video, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on both the keyboard and the mouse. I've been using it, I feel like for a sufficient time now. Logitech G ANZ actually sent out the mouse before it even came out, so I got a sneak peek. I got to have a look at it a little bit early. Again, thank you so much Logitech G ANZ, you guys are always looking after me. But to be honest, I need a little bit of extra time to use both the keyboard and the mouse because I was a little bit, I don't want to say confused, but I was a little bit, I don't know what the exact word is, but I wanted to give you guys the best review possible so you know for sure that it's for you. What we're going to do in this video is we're going to check out both the keyboard and the mouse together. I want to give you my personal opinion on it and who I think it's for. From that, you'll be able to see whether it's right for you. I was thinking maybe this is the reason why I needed a little bit more time with the keyboard and mouse, because while using it, it really made me think which direction Logitech G was going with the peripheral. I feel like I have a pretty good understanding who these products are aimed for, but I'll let you guys decide. Before we get into any of it though, let's do a quick unboxing so you guys can see what's inside. Man, Logitech G ANZ, they always look after me, man. They sent out both the G515 as well as the G309 in white, which matches my current setup, which is awesome. We're going to delve a little bit deeper into this here, and I'll give you my honest thoughts on it. Now, to answer quickly, do I like this keyboard? Yes. And obviously, this is going to sound super biased because you guys know that I like and I use a lot of Logitech G products, but when I first got this after first glance, it wasn't my favorite. I had a look at it and I'm thinking, geez, it had no dedicated media keys, which I'm really used to because it helps out a lot when I'm streaming and things like that. My first thoughts when I first opened it up and had a look at it is I was checking it out and I was thinking, man, that just looks very basic. But I'm not gonna lie, to be honest, after using this for quite a while, this thing is awesome. This thing is really, really good. I feel like a good way to explain it is like the saying, you know, don't overdo it. This is exactly that. I think one of the main things about this keyboard is that it's a low profile keyboard. It's a 22 millimeters to be exact. Not only does it look nice, but it feels very premium. So we have the light speed, the Bluetooth, as well as the game mode button, which will block out certain buttons if you don't want to use them while you're playing video games. It might be a little bit trickier to see there, but you can see some some dedicated media keys which can be used by pressing the function button, which is along the bottom over here. We love to see it with all of Logitech's newer products. We have USB-C on this as well. And then along the bottom, we have two different options that we can set the keyboard at, either 4 degrees or 8 degrees if you like it a little bit elevated. If we have a look at the back of the whole keyboard itself, we can see some grippy feet just to make sure that it doesn't move around. And then I know it's a little bit tricky to see, but let's see if the camera will focus. But along here, it's kind of like a textured kind of backing. So usually when I'm using keyboards, I do have it a little bit elevated, and this is quite grippy. It keeps it into place. But from what I've seen, you know, not only these grips in each corner, but then also the textured base, I think it helps just keep the keyboard where it is. I feel like that this is a really nice finishing touch if it zoom or focuses it in there. Logitech G logo and G515 on the edge here. Again, I think that's a really nice touch. And as you can see, low profile mechanical keys. The types of mechanical keys comes in either linear or tactile. It's really up to you. I usually go tactile just because I like the feel of it, so this is what we went with here. So those are either brown or red switches. From what I've read, the switches do come pre-lubed, which actually helps out a lot with the keyboard. And from what I understand, there's a layer of foam to help with dampening. With all of these things in this keyboard here, it feels so nice. But when I first saw the keyboard, I'll be honest, I wasn't the biggest fan, but after using it, it just feels so good. Might be a little bit tricky to see, or you might not be able to pick it up, but all of these keys are double shot PBT keys. Now, what does that mean? Basically, it has another layer of plastic on there, so other keys or other keyboards that you may have used before, sometimes you'll see or you'll feel that parts of the keycap starts to fade off and things like that. Not with these here, double shot PBTs. It should stay really, really nice. On top of all of that, the keyboard has a 1.3mm actuation point, so it's a faster response time while you're using the keyboard, which is good. Another cool feature that's in the G515 as well is Bluetooth, so you're able to connect it to more of your devices in different ways. You can use the Logitech dongle, so it's Lightspeed wireless. You can use Bluetooth, or you can just have it wired if you like as well. Now, battery life, Logitech states that it has 36 hours of that in the G515, but I can confirm that I feel like it's a little bit more. Mind you, when I do test it, I do have RGB on, but I do dim it a little bit. It's like it's not on the brightest setting. Talking about RGB, it being a Logitech G keyboard, we do have light sync on the G515 as well, which is good. All of that can be configured in GHUB, as you guys have seen in other videos, but there are other things in GHUB that we can control as well. There's something called key control, which we'll delve into a little bit more later on in the video, but essentially we're able to change the binds and the different things that these keys can do. Now, my honest thoughts on the G515 keyboard, I really like it. I honestly thought that when I first got it, I honestly did not like it. I didn't like the look of it. I thought that it was too simplistic, and I was reading a little bit about it. I was thinking I need more because I know what I use for streaming and things like that. Not having dedicated media keys, I know it might be really, really small and minute for some people, but for me, I use it quite a lot. Like, I'm playing and pausing the music all the time, changing songs, depending on what I'm doing, depending on what I'm playing. It just makes it a lot easier than having to tab out. But I'm gonna be honest, maybe on the first day, it felt a little bit weird, but after that, being able to use the media keys along the top with the function key, I barely noticed a difference. There was something about it. I don't know whether it was just the double shot PBT keycaps, but there was something that I just really liked about using the keyboard. Now, as a reference for those who don't know, I use a Pro X2 keyboard by Logitech G. I was really weighing up which one I liked more. The low profile keys actually felt really nice. The keycaps felt really nice. It's just overall, it just felt really good. I used to use a G915 keyboard, if you guys know what that is, but I felt like, is this a successor to the G915? Is this the way that Logitech is going with this? After using the G309, I'm thinking in my head, man, I feel like these two products, the keyboard and the mouse, I thought in my head there's a reason why these were released very, very close together. So my overall thoughts on the keyboard, I think it's awesome. I think it's good. Now the mouse, G309, I saw a lot of things online about what people thought about this mouse, what they wanted, what they were expecting. And when I first recorded this video, I kind of addressed them in a way. To be honest, I don't think it matters. I feel like a lot of the things that were online that I had read and that I had addressed originally in the video when I first recorded this, I feel like it kind of in a way takes the spotlight away from what this mouse is, and from, in my opinion, where I think Logitech is going and who I think this is for. Pretty much like the G515, the colorways that the G309 comes in is both black and white. Like I was saying before, Logitech G ANZ never cease to amaze me. They always make sure that I'm matching. So they sent out the white colorway, or white and gray as you could say. After unboxing it for the very first time, I had a look at it and I was freaking out a little bit. I'm thinking, man, how do I plug this in? How do I charge this, or what's going on? I'll just let this focus up here. As you can see, there is no USB plug, and I'm thinking, wait, how do I, what's going on? The G309 is, from what I understand, there are two ways that you can power this thing. Number one is by the battery, which is included, by the way. You actually do get a battery, which I think is good. Shout out to Logitech for doing that. But it's a AA battery, which again, Logitech G includes. And from what they say, it has over 300 hours worth of playtime. I thought that was pretty cool and creative as well. Logitech G popping the little USB dongle inside the case as well, so you can keep it all nice and neat and together. Now, from what I understand, the only other way that you can power this thing is if you have a power play mat, and we do have it, and I did use it. I did actually quite like it. Not only does it make the mouse a little bit lighter, but also you don't have to have a battery in there. The clicks do feel really nice, both the left and the right mouse click. But not only that, the middle mouse wheel, the scroll wheel, actually feels really good as well. Not only to use scrolling up and down, but just to click into. It feels quite responsive. You know that it's there. It doesn't feel like you're accidentally pressing something else. But if you guys can see it, I don't know. I feel like it's a different texture to other Logitech mice that we've used and that we've seen before. It does actually feel really nice. It's not too squishy. It's not too firm. I feel like they've done really well. Now, the G309 uses light force hybrid switches, which is awesome as well. The buttons on the side do feel really nice as well. Let's give you a better look at that. Yeah, there they are, right there. And when I'm using the mouse, it actually sits quite nice in my hand. Like, it doesn't feel, you know, I usually play like that. I usually have my mouse like that. And it doesn't feel out of the way, or it doesn't feel awkward or weird. Whatever you use your mouse for, it does feel very spammable, so you can just hit them without having to feel like awkward or feel like it's too squishy, if you know what I mean. They just feel really nice. They sit in a really good place. I think that they've done well with this. If you didn't see it already, it feels like a kind of like a matte and almost textured finish on the mouse itself. I feel like the left and right click is of a different kind of texture than the actual mouse itself. It's really hard to see unless you have one in your hand. You can see a slight difference between the two textures, but I actually quite like it. I think it's good. If you didn't see it in the unboxing, I've just got it in my drawer over here. The mouse itself actually comes with like a transmitter extender. I don't know what you would call this thing, but I would say like the USB transmitter that you would normally plug into your computer or into USB and things like that. It actually comes with an extender. So this wire, I don't know exactly how long it is, maybe like a meter or two or a meter and a half or something like that. What I feel like what you would do is you'll plug it in. You have this part here just sitting on your desk, which is like a lot closer to the mouse. Now with the transmitter, for those who don't know, for the transmitter being a lot closer, you know, you would normally get a bit of connection. Long story short, that's how that works. Logitech G have included the Hero 25K mouse sensor, which is the same sensor that we see in the Pro X as well as the G502X. Very good, very good. The mouse itself is 86 grams in weight when it has the battery inside, and from what I understand, I think it's 63 without the battery, so if you're using power play. What I saw online, there was a lot of other people saying that there are other ways that you can make it lighter if you want to. I saw that there were some people that were using a modification of some sort where you could get like a battery casing, so it would be like, I guess, the outer shell of like a AA battery, and then you could use a AAA battery in there instead, and then that shaves off a couple of grams. But to be honest, I honestly don't mind it being at 86. It still feels quite good, but I'm gonna talk about that more in a second. And lastly, the mouse uses a 1K polling rate. My honest thoughts and opinions on the mouse itself. I think it feels really good. It is a different shape to what I'm used to. For those who don't know, I use a Pro X2 mouse, and the G309 is a little bit smaller than that, but it still felt nice. It took me a couple of days to kind of get used to the size difference. I know that there are those out there that would prefer a smaller size mouse, or those that are looking for a smaller size mouse, or those who just don't really mind. I did actually notice a size difference in my hand, but that's because I'm used to using stuff like either the Pro X2 or the G502X. I use both of those. So just to give you a bit of a size comparison, this is the G502X. This is something that I use every day just for day-to-day use, or when I'm playing GTA RP, or when I'm streaming and things like that. So this is the mouse there, and then this is the G309. Just to give you an idea, like a size comparison. So it's a little bit smaller, but I did actually notice that. I did actually notice a difference in size. I'll be honest, I was a little bit worried by it having a battery in there. Not so much for the weight, to be honest, I don't really mind about that, but more so about, oh geez, is that actually gonna last over 300 hours? And I was trying to think in my head, how long is that gonna last me? Because I'm usually on my computer at least 8 to 10 hours plus a day sometimes. So I was genuinely thinking like, man, I don't wanna have to worry about batteries and this, that, and the third. I've used it almost daily. Whenever I'm playing FPS, I've been testing it out just so I can get a really good feeling of the mouse itself. And it has barely moved off 99%. I think it's just sat, it was at 100 and it went to 99. It's just been sitting there for so long. So I don't think I'm really gonna have an issue with the battery. In saying that as well, the battery and the weight, and I know that there are a lot of people talking about like it being a lighter mouse. I'm gonna be 100% honest. 86 grams is not that bad at all. I was using it. Sometimes I actually didn't mind the extra weight as well. It just felt nice. It just felt good. But again, it's just me, because I feel like maybe it's just the size of my hand. I felt like if the mouse was a little bit bigger, there'll be certain things that I actually like about this mouse over the Pro X2, but that's just my own personal opinion. The buttons feel nice. The scroll wheel feels nice too, because I do use it. I feel like overall it's just a really good product from Logitech G. Now, who do I think that this is for? Now, I've actually thought about this like the last couple of weeks. Again, like I said before, I've had both the keyboard and the mouse for quite a while now. I actually recorded this video before and I was starting to edit it and I wasn't 100% happy with it. But after using it for such a long time and after thinking about it, after using both the keyboard and the mouse for some time now, I was trying to think of the best way to kind of explain or categorize or put a label on both the keyboard and the mouse. And I've seen a lot of other people say like budget mouse or budget keyboard, or things like that. I feel like it's not the best word to put on these. They're actually quite a lot of premium things about both the keyboard and the mouse. The Hero 25K sensor that's inside the G309, you know, the low profile mechanical keys, they're pre-lubed. They have the foam dampening inside there. You have tactile switches. You got with a 1.3mm actuation point. So I don't feel like the word budget is the best way to explain these peripherals. I feel like maybe the label essentials is probably the best way to put it. I feel like these products give off that kind of vibe, you know? It's not that they had the features and components of like a Pro X2. They still have really good components that can be used at like a higher level, whether it be streaming or playing competitive video games or anything like that. These still will be able to keep up with a lot of that kind of stuff. So in my opinion, Essentials is kind of like the name that I thought it would be. Now, who do I think this is for? I feel like these peripherals could be from anyone at any level. Whether you're first getting into gaming, I think these would be really good. There's a really good way to start off if you're getting into like streaming or PC gaming or anything like that. Or someone that is already in that space, whether you're a streamer, gamer or anything like that, and they're wanting to get an upgrade to your current setup. These are awesome for that as well. I feel like what Logitech G have done really well here is they've created peripherals or products that people, if they don't want to get something with all the bells and whistles but still want to get something really good, the G309 as well as the G515 are very awesome for that. On top of all of that, it looks really nice in the setup, looks really nice on the desk, and my wife actually wants these, so I'm trying to fire her back, trying to keep these because I really like both the keyboard and the mouse. I feel like Logitech G have done really well with both this keyboard and mouse. I feel like they understood what they were wanting to do and they've actually hit the nail on the head with that. Now, just like our other Logitech G devices, GHUB is where everything comes together, and there's actually a few new changes. We're not going to do a massive deep dive into GHUB with these because you've seen a lot of that already, and you guys know that you guys can always hit me up either in the comments or when I'm streaming if you have any questions or queries about GHUB. But what I do want to do is jump into GHUB and just show you a few changes that I noticed with the mouse and the keyboard and how well they work together. If we go into GHUB, we can see the mouse and the keyboard there already all ready to go. Like I said before, we're not going to delve too much into GHUB itself, but just some of the new things that I had noticed. From what I understand, there's a dedicated button here to change different settings of DPI. Right now, at the moment, I was using 400 because I usually have that when I'm playing FPS games. The wireless report rate, like I was saying before, up to 1000, and that's the maximum that it can go for the time being. But there may be a firmware update in the future from Logitech G. We have a bunch of different curated presets that we can see here, and like other Logitech G peripherals, we can go into the community presets as well. The other settings that we can see here is just the assignments, so we can just remap any of the buttons that we like. So the left or right click, the two side buttons, the middle mouse click, but we can also remap the DPI cycle button as well, which is pretty handy. At the moment, everything is just default for me. That's basically how I've been using it. Nothing different to what we're already used to with a mouse, or a mouse from Logitech, I should say. Now I can see that the G515 has gone into battery saving mode. So if I just hit the space bar, it should just pick back up any second now. There we go. And if we go into here, there's actually quite a few different things. So things that we're already used to, so RGB and light sync, we already know what that is and how we can use that. For those who don't know, there's basically just the RGB settings, how you can change it. There are a lot of different settings and presets that you can change, but this is basically where we do all of that. RGB is included in the keyboard. If we go down to assignments, now this is where we can have a look at something called key control. And basically what key control is we're able to change any of these buttons to something else, or even to a command if we like. Kind of like setting up macros on your keyboard. To give you a good example of this, I did have a look at the community presets before. So if we jump into that there are other people that have actually used key control to change like the presets. So this is actually pretty cool because I haven't seen them do this in presets before. It's kind of like an interactive kind of preview. So we can actually have a look and see what they've actually changed by using key control. So what they've done on this one here, it looks like they've changed the whole right hand side of the keyboard to become a number pad. So I know it's a little bit tricky to see on there. Basically what they've done is they use all of these keys here on the right hand side of the keyboard to make it into a number pad. And then along the bottom here, from what I could see, I think they've changed it to the different symbols. So like, yeah, so there you go. So like plus, minus, multiply, and divide, which I think is pretty cool. It's like a creative way that you can actually do it. I believe there's a button dedicated here to turn that feature on if you want to. And then what essentially that does is when you press that combination of keys, it turns on this mode. So if we use this as an example, with key control, you're able to have the size of a TKL or a 10 keyless keyboard without the number pad. But with the press of a button, you're able to change it so that you actually have that number pad there ready to go. So this is basically like an example of what you could use this for, but it doesn't stop there. I know that this can be used for things like gaming or if you're editing as well. Very similar to what I do with the G502. I know that there's a different profile that I use when I'm editing. So when I press certain buttons, I can chop up clips, delete clips, move things around. It makes it a lot easier to use. Now, I'm just gonna try and look for it as well. There is one last thing that I want to have a look in GHUB. This is basically what I saw when I plugged the keyboard in for the very first time. It gave me a bit of an overview. And one thing that I saw here that I thought that was really good, something right here. So if you can see it along here, 2 device pairing Lightspeed receiver. If we go through this here, it tells us a bit more information around what that is. So 2 device pairing Lightspeed receiver. Pair your compatible mouse with the G515 Lightspeed TKL receiver. Use a single USB port for both devices. So essentially what that means is you can use the one dongle to connect both your keyboard and your mouse. So we can see on the picture here, the G515 and the G502, which is awesome. That's really good. What we're gonna do is if we hit learn more, we can actually have a look and see which devices are compatible. Now I did have a look at this, and I want to see if they've updated it yet. I don't think that they have. No, they haven't as of yet, but that's still okay. That's still fine. But as you can see here, here's a list of devices that it will actually work with. So the G303 Shroud Edition, G705, Pro X Superlight, the Superlight 2, and the G502X line, so all of them, or basically the ones that are running on 2022.8 and onwards. Keyboards that this works with is the Pro X TKL, G715, G915, and G915 TKL. Now first off, I was a little bit stumped because we just got the G309 and I was hoping that the G309 and the G515 would work in sync and that you'll be able to do it. But we can see here future products that support Lightspeed 2 device pairing will be updated here. So hopefully in the future we do see the G309 work with the G515. I could use the G515 with my Pro X2 Superlight because it uses that. Though I do think from having a look at other products and having a look at other mouse, and we do use it with GHUB, I do believe that there are features or things that won't work unless you use it with its own dongle. So for example, getting the 4K polling rate on the Superlight 2 unless using its own dongle. If it's like piggybacking off another one, I don't think that it's going to work. But if you do have any questions or queries about GHUB with the G515 or the G309 or any other Logitech G device that you do have, let me know down in the comments. I try to respond to as many comments and try and help you guys out with any questions that you do have. I want to say again a massive shout out to Logitech G ANZ for setting both the G309 mouse as well as the G515 keyboard. I really do enjoy it and I really do like it. If you guys haven't already, I really appreciate it if you guys like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It's free and it helps me out a bunch. And let me know down in the comments what you think about it. Whether you're looking for a new keyboard or mouse, I hope that this video has helped you decide whether this is going to be the one for you. And if it is, make sure you go to logi.gg/soleKEFS. I'll leave a link in the description where you can go pick up some Logitech G products and it helps me out too. Besides all of that, I want to say thank you so much for watching the video and I'll see you in the next one.